Up and racket number one, Fannie Mae's projections on this housing market are down. All right. So Fannie Mae downgrades home sales expectations for 2022. That'd be the rest of this year, Nicole.
Right. Thank you.
And 2023, which would be all of next year. There you go.
Good.
Following along nicely so far.
For right now.
All right. So the beginning of the year, and we covered this, Fannie Mae projected that we would see a decline in total home sales for existing homes.
Units,
so we're not talking prices or anything else.
Units.
Obviously,
prices.
I know you guys can follow along with that. But they projected that there would be a decline in 1.2% of existing home sales. Last month in May, they were calling for an increase to 11.1%. Now they are up to 13.5%.
13.5%.
Year over year drop in existing home sales for 2022. All right. So Fannie Mae projecting home sales to drop 13.5% from last year. What were last year's home sales? Those were 6.12 million. That's existing home sales. We had 771,000 new home sales. The projection now from Fannie Mae is that we'll see 5.285 million home sales in this year, 2022, with about the same number of new home sales. All right. Where does that put us in history?
You love
Nicole?
this. This is a great chart.
Let's put this chart up.
This chart.
This is history right here.
Great chart.
This is going back to 2005, number of existing home sales sold in the United States from 2005 to 2023.
Yep.
Ignore their 2022, 2023 numbers. Their projections are different from Fannie Mae.
Yeah.
This is Statista. Go sign up for Statista. I've signed up for them.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Huh.
I like their charts. Anyways.
Okay. Well, you just like charts.
So 5.2 million this year, which is what they're projecting, 4.285 Fannie Mae. That would then put this year at the lowest existing home sales since 2015 at 5.25. 2018, 2019, 5.34. Is this year starting to feel like a 2018, 2019 market? Or do you feel like it's better than? 2018, 2019 was like not till the end of 2019. It wasn't amazing.
No, well, but I think you and I could be pretty honest though. The Connecticut market, since we've gotten into the business I was in 10, crappy, yeah. You got in what, around 12. It hasn't. I mean, you just put along, and the goal is to just get the majority of the units. Like that's the goal. Yeah. You're not sitting around hoping that all of a sudden there's going to be additional units. You're just now working. You just need to work harder for the units that are going to be out there.
If your business is up year over year, like ours is, your feeling of like, wow, this market could be pretty good might be different than the majority of the market. The majority of the market, existing home sales are down. Fannie Mae is projecting them to continue to go down, and we're at 13.5% for a projection for 2022. Put up the Fannie Mae chart. The 2023 projection from Fannie Mae might be what shocks you.
Yeah.
Okay. They're projecting that we will go down in 2023 to 4.671 million existing home sales in the U.S. This is right in line with my prediction of what is going to happen as we go into this higher interest rate. You've heard me talk about the Cold War of real estate, where people just freeze, and people that are in a 3% interest rate on their home don't sell. Right. And some people drop out of the market and continue to rent. Hence why all these, hedge funds and all these investors went out and bought all these properties, because they know there's a lot of people that are going to continue to rent. And you're just going to have less buyers. You're just going to have less transactions.
Right.
Something that I've been calling for. This would put us, these Fannie Mae 2023 projections of 4.6 million, this would put us at the lowest amount of sales since 2012. The last time we were even under 5 million existing home sales was 2014. 4.66 million is what we sold in 2012.
I mean, you need to start having a lot of different conversations if this is really what's going to be happening. I mean, it's going to be a huge slap in the face for sellers.
Here's where it's going to be different than that bottoming out of the market after the GFC. We are not going to be in a situation, even with these less home sales, where we have 15 months of inventory. That's not going to happen.
Right.
You don't have enough inventory. The reason why we're going to have less home sales, I believe,
is because of inventory.
is because who the heck wants to sell and trade into 6.5% if they technically don't have to move?
Right.
They've got to move, and there's going to be, it's going to be 4 million plus transactions. There might even be 5 million plus transactions.
Well, but it's interesting though, because I do think though in 2012, a lot of people though weren't selling because at that point a lot of them were underwater.
Right.
So they were sort of freezing in that
but
situation too.
There was a lot of inventory in 2012.
There was a lot. Well, there was a lot of bank properties though. So just yesterday I talked to an agent that carries a pretty heavy load. Back in the prime, she had quite a business over there.
For REOs.
Yes. And she just listed one here in town yesterday, and I chatted with her a little bit because I'm like, are you seeing it influx? She's like, honestly, the only ones that I'm putting up right now are ones that have been sitting in my pipeline for like 18, 24 months. She's not getting flow. Yeah, she's not getting anything. No. Yeah.
And so I think you're going to still have an inventory problem, which is why I do not believe like back then when you saw, if you go back to the Statista chart, 2008 until 2000 and basically 14, we saw just under 5 million home sales each year, except for 2013 you saw just over. And you know, a lot of people obviously were hurt during that crisis.
Jobs,
you had
money.
But you had a lot of inventory, so you had prices crashing. Okay, so I don't believe you're going to see prices crash. I think that's in line, and I think that's what homeowners need to know right now. Hey, your price isn't going to crash. Homes aren't going to go down in value.
Never.
So if we're educating buyers right now, Nicole, it's hey, and there's a great chart that we can flash up here, Tomo, how rising rates can impact your home loan. Like we can show this chart real quick too, Bobby, that like I believe home values are going to keep going up. The only reason you're seeing, you know, these
slowdowns,
doom and gloom slowdown is because you've got less people potentially going to buy, but you're going to have less people that are going to sell. So painting that picture for buyers and then showing them this chart where it's like, how long do you want to wait? Do you want to wait till interest rates are 6.5% and the home price is still the same and your payment is the only thing that's going to keep skyrocketing?
And what's so interesting though is that back in 2005 rates were that high too. So
but prices were 2005 they were up. Yeah.
They were up. Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Fannie Mae is saying it's going to get tighter. You're going to be fighting over less deals. Tom Toole did a call today on the 5 a.m. call where he talked about right now is the time to have a big pipeline, not a small pipeline where you're disappointed that, oh man, 2 or 3 of my buyers that I've been working so hard on all year just dropped out of the market.
Or it's time for you to go visit some of those cold, maybe like back burner leads that, you know, because again, I mean, the immediate leads are certainly slowing down.
You want to talk to everybody because there's going to be less sales. All right. We've got a great list for racket number 2. And we've got a great list for the marketeer, both lists of 7. I can't wait to jump into them.
Wait.
But first, let's jump into Tomo's new product to help your buyers make sense of staying in the market.
Staying in the game.
How many times have you heard right now people are like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's dropping out of the market because of these rate situations? Well, if you're an agent, get your buyer over to Tomo. You can go to hellotomo.com or you can go to go.hellotomo.com/lock and shop. So you want to look up Tomo Lock and Shop, or we're going to put the link below. Tomo Lock and Shop. Market proof your next big move. What I like about this, we can even screen share this, Bob. We're doing a lot of screen share, a lot of editing today on the pod.
You love screen sharing. So That's every episode.
You can select, am I an agent or am I a buyer, right? So if you're an agent, you could be helping your buyer by putting this information. There's two-way protection. Get a peace of mind in this volatile market. So you've got 90 or 120-day locks.
120-day locks.
I haven't heard of really anybody doing this. So you can choose what's right for you for just $750.
But this is before you even have an address in mind. Yes.
So a lot of the lenders you're working with, the majority, all, whatever you want to say, are going to say, okay, give me the contract, then I can lock your rate.
And I can lock you.
Right now you can get up to 4 months. Before. Huge. Locking the rate. And all we're going to see in the next 4 months is new listings every day.
What's so great too as an agent for this is that if this, you have to, they're investing. So it's a $750 investment and it expires in 120 days. So you at least now know that your buyer, you would hope, is now going to be motivated to purchase in the next 120 days. Yeah.
And maybe if you're an agent and you've got them signed long. Maybe you're throwing in the 750. Okay.
Ooh,
maybe you're doing that as a
wow,
little closing
spend
cost
everybody's
reimbursement.
money?
Well, I'm just saying, maybe.
Oh, like you're fronting it, but then they don't
you're
have any
doing that.
skin in the game.
Maybe
Let the buyers
they're
have some
paying it,
skin
and
in. Oh, and then you're reimbursing
at
it
time of close.
at the time. That would be a nice shtick.
Be a nice gesture.
Yes.
What I also like about
keep the skin in the game.
even if you don't have a client or someone to put into the lock and shop, go on this link.
This should be the marketeer of the week.
This is kind of a marketeer.
I feel like
double
it
marketeer.
Should be.
Go on this link, Bobby. Flash the chart again.
Do
you have notes of all this, Bobby? All right, Bobby's on
and then
point
find out
today.
from Tomo what their color is. I like it.
And look at this chart, screenshot this chart, and use this for your buyers. It shows that at a 5.5% interest rate, a $616,000 house costs $3,500 for the monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the interest rate goes to 6.5%. You better get the house for $553,000 if you want your payment to stay at $3,500. And guess what? Like we just said in the last
like $70,000
bracket, people aren't coming down on their price.
No.
So now you can afford less homes. Yep. So this is a great chart to use to help educate people that right now, if you can lock in at 5.5%, lock and shop. Tomo is where you get that done. Hey guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on The Real Word YouTube.